Welcome to Tips and Tricks with V3nture DMB.
Through the darkness, visualizing what is meant for me.
What's happening, guys, and welcome to the very first V3nture DMB tips and tricks video. Now, before we start, I just want to say that these videos are made for complete and utter beginners just starting out on their journey in production. So we're just hoping to clear up some confusion, show a few methods of literally working with MIDI, working with audio, and hope that we can help you produce something banging in the future. So with that being said, let's have some fun. All right, guys, so here we have a brand new project. When you open up Logic, you probably know this already, but it will give you these options. 4 options: MIDI, patterns, session player, or audio. Just stick to MIDI or audio for now. Let's go for audio for a minute. Right, so obviously it brings up an audio track right here where my cursor is. Down here, you have your chain. So this is where you select your different effects, all of that sort of stuff, all the fun bits and bobs. Here you do have input, but you also have this little circle. That little circle means mono. For some strange reason, it's gone straight into mono instead of stereo. I want it as stereo right now. So what that means is mono is centered, stereo is a wider berth of sound. So that's left and right. Generally speaking, for sampling or audio in general, you want it as stereo. However, if you're using anything like low end basses and things like that, you probably want that in mono. So let's go ahead and import an audio sample. So just to show you a few key commands as well as we go along, the key command to import a sample is Shift, Command, and I. Shift, Command, and I. And as you can see, brings up samples. So we're just going to go ahead and grab a random sample. This is actually a culture pack. These are great. I don't actually use many samples, to be quite honest with you. I do use drum samples, kicks, snares, hats, but I form the patterns myself and play melodies in and bass lines in myself as well. However, every now and then I might use a sample, and I encourage people to use samples just purely because it's very good to manipulate sound and learn from using other people's samples as well. And you can get something absolutely incredible from using samples. Putting them onto samplers and things like that is amazing. So yeah, let's go with it. Let's go for that crazy sound. So the tempo of that is 175. So let's change the tempo up top here. So you double click there where it says tempo. Double click that, change it to the tempo that it is. Now this is playing in F. So what we want to do, go down to F. And yeah, just basically put it into key. So basically that just gives you really a visual of what key the track is in as well. So you know where you're going with the track. So yeah, let's start something on here. So obviously we have an audio file here and we can do little bits of manipulation with it. What you want to do as well is widen it up so you can really see the waveform then. You can get a good idea of what's actually happening with the sound. But also if you come over to the side here, if you drop down this menu, so you have these little bits here, you drop that down, you'll see gain. So just put that sort of, you want to drop it out the edges there. Just rein it in a little bit sound wise, because that's literally peaking like hell. So you don't want anything peaking. Right, so now we've got our audio file. I thought it would be quite important before we get into sort of manipulating the sound and using some effects to just talk you through a few of the tools right up here where my cursor is in the center. So on the left hand side, that is your permanently selected tool. So obviously pointer tool is, you know, it's your general tool. You can move around, blah, blah, blah. And then you have your scissors, your text tool, erase tool, your fade, everything. You can do all sorts of stuff with those tools, but that is your main one. So for instance, if you have scissors selected, it's permanently going to start chopping everything that you select. That is not necessarily what you want, but a great way to speed up your workflow is to use the right hand side tool. So if you select that one, like for instance, it's got scissors on there now. If you hold down Command, it will select the scissor, and then you can pop back and forth, move stuff around, chop, chop, chop. And it just really speeds up your workflow. So yeah, it's a good way of just doing things quickly. You could also have, you know, for instance, scissors on that one. You could have a fade on here, for instance, put a fade across, bang, 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 and just do things like that. So yeah, it just makes things a lot quicker and a lot better. Obviously, really and truthfully, production, a lot of it comes down to workflow and being able to do things quickly. Right, so with that being said, let's get into it. Right, so let's add some effects to this sample, see what we can kind of do with it, see how different we can make it sound just by using some native Logic plugins. So yeah, let's go down to audio effects here. I always love the auto filter. It's one of my go-to filters. It's absolutely amazing what this filter can do. So let's bring that up. So right, so what we have here is the cutoff point. So obviously, you know, these will cut different frequencies out of the sound. So I'll demonstrate here. So as you can see, it's cut out the low and the highs and just left part of the mid in. Here, cut out the low, left the rest in, and so forth. So auto filter actually has an LFO in it as well, which is amazing. Low frequency oscillator. That will obviously manipulate the waveform, so it will make the sound go crazy. It will give it more of a pattern to the sound. Yeah, it will make it flow in a different way. So let's have a play around with that. So right here, this is where you lift it up. So this is how much the LFO will affect the sound. All right, so we got a bit of a cool sound there, but all I'm really doing at the moment is taking out the frequency. So let's see if we can do something else. A good way of manipulating sound is splitting, is basically copying that audio file so you have two. So to copy the track that you're on is Command and D. Bang, you've got the same track there, and it comes with the auto filter on it with all the same settings as well. Then all you got to do is hold that Alt. So you click on your audio file, you hold down Alt and drag and drop, and that will copy the audio file down. So now we got that one there. Let's bring up that one. Get rid of that. And let's see what we can do. So this is your EQ. So if you come to here where the cursor is now, that is your EQ. That's your channel EQ, which is just a static EQ. It's very good for just cutting frequencies, which I'll show you now. So I want to cut the highs out of this frequency and really focus a lot more on the low end of it. So I'm going to bring it over to about there. So it's quite nice. So you can already see the sound has changed a lot, and this is just playing it around. This is just showing you the basics of really manipulating a bit of an audio file and a bit of sound in general. So obviously I'm just doing little bits and bobs just to demonstrate to you what you can do. So let's go on to this one here again, start playing with the high frequency. So let's drop these two channels down just a little. So these are peaking quite badly at the moment. So I think really and truthfully we need to add a gain onto these. So if you come down to here, come into gain, pull up a gain. So gain is different to volume. Gain will help you stop things. Well, it will stop things peaking in general. So if you drop that down to about 7, P on this one. Essentially, this is what gain staging is. It's a very, very loud sample, this. Don't know why the master track was actually up massively there as well. So yeah, there we go. So we'll play around with a couple other effects. Stereo delay. You'll agree that sounds pretty damn cool. So if we just switch all of these off, you can kind of hear very harsh. It's got a lot more space and a lot more energy, in my opinion. It's a lot more subtle, but it will allow for a lot more to go on around it as well. Right, so obviously we've manipulated this this sample to a point now, but I think what would actually be really fun to do on this tips and tricks is actually just focus on this sample itself and see what kind of sound and everything that we can make from just this one sample, because you can literally construct an entire track by using just one sample or one sound, because you can manipulate it so much in so many different ways that you can just make it sound like it's something completely different to how it started. And I think that's absolutely amazing and very, very cool to be able to do. So yeah, let's continue with this. I don't think I'm going to go into the MIDI instruments on this video. I don't think we've really got time, and quite frankly I think it's quite fun to just focus on this one thing. So yeah, let's carry on. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this track once again. So Command D, right, bring that down. At this point, obviously, when you start getting sort of multiple channels going, you want to really name what you've done. So obviously right now you got culture, synth bass loop, and this one's the high one, high frequency. And you got that again, so just copy that. Command C, come down now. Command V to paste. Change tone to low, so we know which one that is. So you got your low frequency. Bring out a little bit more of a bounce here as well. And you got your high frequency here. So what I want to do is obviously just copy that track down. So we're going to take the high frequency. I'm going to solo that. So this is solo. So that is literally just soloing that one track. So you can listen to that one sample on its own. So let's manipulate this a little bit more. So what do we want to do? I think we'll go here. Get it really, really gritty. I want to go for like a gritty sound on this one. So I'm going to turn the LFO off there. That's peaking on my... All right, so let's come in here. Let's go to... Actually, won't go to Fat Effects yet. We'll go to that shortly. Let's go to Beat Breaker, actually. So Beat Breaker is a brilliant one on here. So if you come down into your... So obviously you select here. So it's a new plugin to use. Multi-effects. You'll find Beat Breaker if you've got the up-to-date Logic. So Beat Breaker has got all sorts of things in it that you can manipulate, like the order of sound and things like that, the sample is. So, you know, it's kind of like using side chaining and gates and all this sort of stuff, pitch shifting. You can see it all here, repeat, stutter. Let's go gate it out. Have a play around with the stereo delay as well, so you can kind of manipulate how the delay is happening, when it's happening, when it's firing off, when it's coming in, when it's going out, and all this sort of stuff. So let's have a play around with this as well. Yeah, nice. It sounded wicked. So what you want to do is when you've got two sort of similar sounds, obviously you want to pan them slightly away from each other. So it's sort of a 12. Minus 12 each, one left, one right. And that will kind of separate the sounds a little bit. That's got a pretty cool effect there. So let's go Shift Command I. Let's look at bringing I don't know. It's kind of jump uppy this, isn't it? So let's So Option Command A will create a brand new audio track with nothing on it. Obviously that's just dropped it into that, so my bad. But yeah, so now we've got a fresh channel with a fresh audio file on it. Obviously just drop that volume down slightly. But let's just listen to what it sounds like with a bit of drums over the top. That's pretty cool. Right, so what we're going to do now is let's try and play around with these a little bit. Yeah. Kind of bring that in. Got a little bit of fade there. So as you can see, literally that's using one sample, and yeah, we've just got a track sounding pretty damn cool, to be honest with you. I know I've just dropped some drums in there. I'd usually construct the drums, but obviously that takes quite a while, and we go into that on another episode. But yeah, you can hear the difference massively. So if I mute these two, go back to the original. Sounds good, but this sounds better in my opinion. So yeah, it's a pretty cool way of sort of manipulating sound and you know, just dealing with the sample and just playing around with it and just using one essentially. So but yeah, let's try and do some other stuff to it. Right, so I think to round off this video and just do some last little bits to the sound, I think we'll try and add a little bit of atmosphere, maybe a bit of reverb to part of the sample as well, and then maybe we'll continue this on another video. So yeah, let's come up to here. So this bar here, this yellow bar, represents your loop, the size of your loop. So if you're manipulating one specific sound, obviously you want to make sure you've got that looped, solo that so you can just hear it on its own. So let's come into here. So this is a reverb. This is a native Logic reverb as well. It's really good. It's a new one. Yes, absolutely brilliant. So let's just have a listen to the stock one. We want a bit more than that. Let's go large rooms. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I've noticed the low end is still in this one as well. So obviously you want to be very, very careful with low ends. You want to be careful with any frequencies, but obviously low ends clashing together is a big, big no-no. So yeah, this has still got the low end in there. So I'm just going to give that a roll off. I don't want to remove all of it, but just roll it off to about there. So that sounded pretty damn cool. So there I'm just changing the reverb delay. So obviously that's the amount of time that the delay keeps going essentially in the reverb. Preferably with the reverb that I've used on there, I'd actually want to use an auxiliary send. The reason for that is a little bit more advanced, obviously. The reason for the auxiliary send instead of using it on the channel strip there or on a bus is I can gauge how much reverb is coming through and when it cuts off, because at the moment there's a lot of bleed through from the reverb, so it's running through and then continuing on. The whole point in using auxiliary sends and bus and automation, which is here's where my cursor is there, is so that you can actually stop that reverb where you want, so it's not bleeding into other sounds as such. So yeah, but on that note, I think we'll leave it there anyway and continue this on the next video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Big ups and see you on the next one.